I think the aesthetics of the series are good. And the animation is solid. And Hamish Linklater is certainly doing a great job voicing Bruce Wayne and Batman. He's the standout. But so much of it feels like a shadow. A slower, more poorly paced shadow. A less interesting version of Batman the Animated Series. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to my review for Batman Caped Crusader. So, as many of you know, or probably know, I'm a huge fan of Batman the Animated Series in the DCAU. Huge surprise. And just the DC, animated universe in general. I grew up watching those shows, and Batman the Animated Series introduced me to not only Batman, but also the concept of superheroes, comic books, and the adaptations of both. Ever since then, I've had a love and a passion for Batman, his supporting characters, and the various other heroes and villains that just make up DC. And I've been able to read about and watch these characters for years now, decades at this point. But I always find myself drifting back to Batman the Animated Series, along with Superman, Batman Beyond, Justice League, and all the others, and all the various films that came from them as well. It spawned from them. Those shows and movies, for the most part, did such a wonderful job of adapting the material from the comics and also introducing new things to the world of DC, such as Harley Quinn, of course, the Joker's girlfriend, who has gone on to be one of DC's most popular characters, villains, anti-heroes, featured in movies, and even given an animated series of hers that's been very successful. That's like 4 seasons, strong. I think it's going to get a 5th season as well. At the same time, they also reinvented other characters like Mr. Freeze, because in the comics, he was a nice thing villain. There was nothing to him. But for Mr. Freeze, they provided him with a tragic backstory that has since been incorporated into the comics to great success. There are so many things I can go on and on about Batman the Animated Series. And though there are, many people who are responsible for its success, like Paul Dini, Eric Radomski, Boyd Kirkland, Mitch Bryan, who all deserve their due. They deserve respect for what they were able to accomplish. And obviously, all the other people were associated for the other shows, like later on. I, and I think many others, look at Bruce Timm as the father of Batman the Animated Series, as the father of the DCAU, and just helped usher in a wave of mature and well-written animated shows, not only just for DC, but just in general, and helped inspire so many other creators and their projects. He was a trendsetter, much in the same way that Disney just introduced people to all these amazing new animated films, created the Renaissance era. I would argue that stuff like Batman the Animated Series and the DCAU did the same thing, except on television, right? So when it was announced that Bruce Timm was going to do another animated Batman series, I was excited. It was said the series was going to be a period piece set in the 1930s or 40s, right? It was going to have a huge cast. It was going to be dark. It was going to be a detective story. And I'm like, sold, let's do it. But then you started hearing all the behind-the-scenes issues with Warner Bros. Discovery and David Zaslav, who is just a piece of shit of a human being, just god-fucking awful, and just has an axe to grind against animation in general. And apparently, like, sell this. And they eventually sold it to Amazon. That's where it, premiered. Premiered just a week ago. The beginning of August. But, despite all that, the series is now out. It's been out for a week now. And I finally watched it. Most of it. I've watched most of it. I have only seen 7 episodes, 6.5 technically, and I'm as surprised as all of you that I've only watched that many episodes so far, and that it's taken me this long to watch what I have of it. And I'm surprised to say this, but I think this show is just okay. It's fine. I think the aesthetics of the series are good, and the animation is solid. And Hamish Linklater is certainly doing a great job voicing Bruce Wayne and Batman. He's the standout. But so much of it feels like a shadow, a slower, more poorly paced shadow, a less interesting version of Batman the Animated Series. So much so that even when I was watching the first 2 episodes that focus on the Penguin and later on Basil Karlo, who is like the original Clayface, I just found myself getting bored. And I was like, because so many things about this show is just derivative of Batman the Animated Series. I was just constantly asking myself as I continued to watch and got up to episode, I guess 7, why didn't they just continue on with the original series? Just tell more stories in that world again, because you're doing it here, but it feels like you're just kind of going through the motions. They even recreate shots from the animated series. It's like, I've seen that before. And I know I've seen that before because I watch a lot of Batman animated series. I watched it many, many, many times over. And again, I just started to find the whole series kind of dull to watch. I just recently finished watching My Adventures of Superman, as you guys know, and I love the show. I already loved the first season. I think the second season is even better. And what's so great about that particular series is that despite being reverent of the past material and the foundational things that define Superman and his supporting characters, it isn't afraid to change the aesthetics, giving it like that anime look. Okay, it looks different, but also playing around with the mythology as well. Again, at the same time, being respectful of the past and where these characters came from. It felt fresh. It was very refreshing. While Batman the Cape Crusader, it doesn't feel fresh at all. It has the same Art Deco look, like that exact look. The exact look. I was like, okay, it feels like you could even take shots from this show and put it in the Batman series, and I wouldn't even notice. Right? Other people wouldn't notice. And listen, I love that look. That look is cool. I like that version of Gotham City. I think for a lot of people, that is their version of Gotham City, favorite version of Gotham City. It probably is mine. And it should look that way given the time period. But I kept being reminded of the original show. Also, the series, at least for these 6+ episodes, 6.5 episodes that I've watched, it just spends a lot of time with the supporting cast and not nearly as much time with Batman, which is weird. Now, that may not exactly be a bad thing, but they need to make those characters interesting. And so many of them are just kind of dull in this show. Like, one of the first characters we're introduced to is the Penguin. Oswald Cobblepot, who's voiced by Minnie Driver. They do a gender-bent version of the Penguin. And there's nothing really about this version of the Penguin that stands out compared to like other animated adaptations of the Penguin that we've gotten before. I mean, certainly she pales in comparison to like Paul Williams's Penguin from Batman the Animated Series, New Batman Adventures. Doesn't really is as interesting or as weird, infamous as Dan DeVito's like Penguin. It's just like it's like the writers and the showrunners went, let's just make Penguin a lady. Make it a woman. And I was like, oh, what else are you going to do with that? Nothing. She's just a woman now. It's just like, oh, okay. It's just like, it's an aesthetic change that they don't really do anything interesting with. Like, they established that, like, she has children. And well, what they end up doing with them is kind of inconsequential and not very interesting, because we don't get a lot of time to spend with those characters, to be quite honest. And I guess I can't really imagine as to why they just decided to, like, just change it up. It's like, if you're going to change it up, then okay, now she's a woman. Let's lead into that. Do something, like, cool. Give her something interesting to do. And they don't give her anything interesting to do, right? And it feels like you just did it to generate a reaction. And then you have other characters outside of some of the villains. I want to get to some of these other villains in just a bit. But you have, like, Barbara Gordon, who's voiced by Crystal Joy Brown. And in this, she's a little different. Of course, she's still the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon still, like, he's Commissioner Gordon, head of the GCPD. In this, though, she's older, and she's like a public defender for criminals that wouldn't be able to get a defense. And she's constantly going up against, Harvey Dent, who's actually one of the highlights of this series. I'll get to him in just a bit. And is kind of clashing with her father a lot of the times. At least that's what they kind of want to, like, establish. And it's like, they're arguing. I'm just like, I guess so. I don't know. Like, her voice acting, and what's given to her is just kind of dull and monotonous. It's like every episode she's pissed off about this one thing, this one client, and Batman gets involved, and then repeat. Rinse and repeat. And they don't go through. They don't do anything else that's really interesting, at least in the first 6.5 episodes that I've seen with her. And so every time she showed up, it was just like, okay, hey, Babs. She's just doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. You have also Renee Montoya, who, funny enough, was created for Batman the Animated Series back in the day. She was a creation of Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and all those people that worked on that show. And she was a great character and was meant to expand the cast of the GCPD, get a female perspective in there. And it's the first couple episodes, especially the second one, it's pretty much all focused on her. And she's voiced by Michelle C. Bonilla, and I did not like her voice acting whatsoever. She just sounded so monotone. And again, like the structure of the episode where it revolves around Clayface, who's a serial killer, which is very much based on his original version. He was an actor that went insane and started killing people, right? And he wore like a mask. And here, it's pretty much just her doing the whole detective routine. Like, all right, we're going to go to a new character, gonna talk to them, try to find some clues, do the same thing. Batman's, like, barely in the episode. And I'm just like, this version of Renee Montoya isn't very interesting, like, at all. And then what I think is probably one of the worst characters in the show, and it's staggering to me, but the worst character in the show, at least so far, is Dr. Harleen Quinzel, or Harley Quinn, voiced by Jamie Chun. And it's crazy because, of course, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, they're the creators of Harley Quinn. They're the one that came up with the concept of Joker's girlfriend, and look how that proliferated, look how that exploded. And I guess Bruce Timm in interviews, he's been on to say, this is what I want to do with Harley Quinn. I want to make it a little more darker, having her be like more standalone. But after watching the show, I'm just like, this doesn't work. I'm not saying Harley Quinn can't work without Joker. Obviously, she can. We've seen that. But at the same time, still, like, always initially being part of the Joker, whether it is in the films or the animated shows, or even more recently in stuff like Harley Quinn. And that's just, it's not there. The Joker's not in the series, at least not yet, and as far as I know. And in this, she's more of like, she's a vigilante. She's like, she takes that extra step that Batman won't take. I'll do the things that you won't do, Batman. And her, again, like the voice acting in particular, that's what's really disappointing to me. The voice acting throughout so much of this show is lackluster as hell. And especially her performance, like, she doesn't have that, that Harley Quinn voice, which some people find aggravating. I'm like, and that's fair, but it's a part of the character. It's a part of the character. Like so many iterations of Harley Quinn have had it, a variation of it, a hint of it, right? And she has none of it. They do like little references to like Puddin'. It's not what you expect. It's actually kind of like weirder, in all honesty. Like they do is like little callback right there. It's just like, okay, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I just found her whole, because they have her presented as like she's a psychiatrist and she's talking to all these people, but so many of her patients are a rich socialite. She's like, I hate the 1%. Down with the 1%. I must torture them so that I can give back to the citizens of Gotham, even though she's committing horrific crimes that's endangering countless people. So, in reality, and then they try to present her as a hero, but it's like you're still really villainous and you're endangering like a ton of people. It's just her character doesn't work in this. It really doesn't. This might be my. Yeah, it is. I think this is the worst interpretation of Harley Quinn yet. There was just nothing about her that stood. Her costume just is flat. Her color scheme is kind of like dull, like her personality and her performance. Huge disappointment when it came to Harley Quinn. Now, there are some notable exceptions in terms of the characters and the voice acting who are doing a good job, a great job. Hamish Linklater is doing the voice of Bruce Wayne and Batman. And Hamish Linklater, in case you guys don't know, he's been in a ton of stuff. I probably know him best in Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass. He played the priest in that. Awesome. Killed it. Like his monologues, incredible. I love that show. He's excellent as Batman. He does a really good job. I feel like he is bringing 110% to this. His Bruce Wayne is great. Again, he plays it like aloof, but then he has that, that brooding nature underneath. He's able to, wine and dine all the citizens and high society of Gotham, but at the same time, he becomes Batman. It's just like, it's all business. He's very serious. There's clearly something wrong with him. He's dealing with a lot of that trauma. Of course, his relationship with Alfred's kind of fucked up. Very cold. I will say that. I thought his relationship with Alfred was very different, where they have a very kind of standoffish relationship. He doesn't call him Alfred. He calls him Pennyworth. He's like, Pennyworth. And I was like, damn, dude. And so I did like that. He's thankfully, Batman is the best thing about Batman the Caped Crusader. So thank God, because if that wasn't the case, that wouldn't have then it would have been all for naught. At that point, why did he even bother? But he's very good when he's featured. Because some of these early episodes are just like, we're not going to focus on Batman right now. I'm just like, kind of wish you would. I think that would be better. Also, Diedrich Bader, who also voiced Batman in many things. Batman the Brave and the Bold from a few years ago, currently is the voice of Batman in the Harley Quinn animated series. He voices Harvey Dent, who then later becomes Two-Face in the show. Now, I can only really speak on him as Harvey Dent because that's what I've seen. His Harvey, very different take on Harvey Dent. Like, he is not the morally upstanding district attorney, lawyer, the white knight, if you will. It's like, I want to stop crime in Gotham, and I want to change the system, from within. I want to do it the right way. I want to do it by the book. He's corrupt in this. Like, he's a piece of shit, and he's smarmy, and he's sarcastic, and he's weaselly. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is very interesting. And so I'm wondering, like, when he eventually becomes, Two-Face, like, what's going to happen? Like, what's his person? So that's like a cool kind of mystery. I'm interested to see how that's going to go. That intrigued me. I haven't really gotten there yet. But I haven't seen this version of Harvey Dent, but before. And that was cool. That was fresh. And I like how he's interacting. Again, just interacting with Bruce or interacting with Barbara, who's kind of hitting on at times and just being an asshole to her, and he's threatening like Renee Montoya and also kind of threatening Commissioner Gordon. It's like, wow, this is a cool, inspired take on Harvey. I'm interested to see where they will eventually go with him as Two-Face. And so the two of them, Hamish Linklater and Diedrich Bader, I think are doing a great job with what they've been given, what they've been featured in so far. Honestly, I wish it was more focused on them. Certainly when it came to Harvey Dent. But outside of them, I found myself not really attached to anyone or their stories or their relationships. It just feels like less inspired takes on better and bolder things done in. I had seen all this before. I had seen all of this before in Batman the Animated Series, except it was new. It was fresh. And this is not, and that's why as I was reading about this show, I was prepping for this review, I was taking my notes, I was like, all right, I want to hit this point, hit that point, etc. I learned we could have gotten something even better. Apparently, guys, WB, Warner Bros., years ago, had approached Bruce Timm to do a revival of Batman the Animated Series, a continuation of Batman the Animated Series, and he didn't want to do it. And I'm just like, why didn't you? And the thing is, clearly he does, because so much of this show feels exactly like Batman the Animated Series, except lesser, except it's a shadow. And I've said, how long have I been talking about this? Recently, for years. I would love for them to go back to the DCAU and tell more stories, do new shows. It doesn't even necessarily have to be Batman. Yes, you could do other seasons of Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond. You have plenty of material. There's plenty of new writers who grew up watching that show, who are inspired by it, and who want to continue on, want to add their own mark to it. They want to expand it, make it feel even more rich, reintroduce it to not only old fans like myself, like us, but new fans, new generations, right? And the opportunity was there, and it wasn't taken. Instead, they made this, and it's not a fresh take. It's just it's a derivative version of what came before, and it has its moments, but not enough. Not enough to where I'm not gonna finish this. I don't feel like I want to finish this. Like I got up to 7. I got to episode 7. I was like, I'm done. I tapped out. I was just like, yeah. I actually I had done some audio video commentaries for this show, but then I was like, I don't want to do audio video commentaries for it anymore. I haven't edited or uploaded them yet. But I'll upload them. I think I'll just upload them for fucking free, honestly. Because even my reactions, I usually like talking about it and like really getting into the episodes. I want to put on a show for my video commentaries, and so much of these I was just like, And so yeah, I'm surprised that I feel this way, And I guess I'm in the small minority. I'm in the very small minority because it feels like a lot of critics love this show and they say that it's on the same level as Batman series, but I disagree with that. I mean, like what you like, just what you dislike, at the end of the day, but I'm just like, I just don't. Some say it's even better. It's the true sequel series. I'm just like, I don't feel that way personally. I would have preferred them to just either go back to it or just, I don't know, do what My Adventures Superman did, where it's like, yeah, still reverent of what came before in the past and being very respectful of it, but putting your own fucking mark on this character, doing something that's new, that's fresh, that's fun and inspiring. And I don't think this is it. And so yeah, I'm disappointed by Batman the Caped Crusader, and I'm sad to say that because, as you guys know, I love Batman. I love what Bruce Timm has done in the past and what he brought to DC and Batman in particular, and I want this to be good, and I also think it's very good. But yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my review on Batman the Caped Crusader. I know it might be a hot take, and I think a lot of people are going to feel differently, but for myself, I'm just like, yeah, I didn't feel it. But what about you guys? How did you guys enjoy Batman the Caped Crusader? Did you actually really like it? Were you mixed, or did you not like it all that much? Let me know.
5 minutes later.
Khalid, thank you 100 biddies. Appreciate that. I got to start watching these animated shows. My Adventures Superman. I recommend My Adventures Superman. The first 2 seasons are up right now. You can watch all days. They just finished season 2, I think, about a week ago. So I recommend. I loved it. I love that show. Yeah. I asked quite a lot. Thank you, Biggie Smell. So okay, I'm not the only one. Okay, because I feel crazy. Because people were like, oh, it's a great adaptation of Batman, I love it. I was like, where's fucking Batman? Where is he? It's so weird. It's a Batman show. It's called Batman the Caped Crusader. Not Batman, and not friends of Batman. Oh God, let me see what you guys are saying. I'm very curious. I don't know, man. She fetish. Oh, the fetish. We'll talk about that, Austin. The fetish stuff. Yeah. Oh Christ! I like Hamish Linklater's Bruce Wayne Batman. I agree with you. He's my favorite thing about the show. He is a great Bruce Wayne and Batman. I agree. I speak very highly of his performance. John, it took me a second to realize it was him. He did a great job, I thought. Yeah, no, he did. KC, I love what I've heard from previews and trailers. He sounds better than everyone else, which is surprising, yeah. It's funny seeing with a young Bruce Wayne that's cringeworthy. Is that the one where he walks in on Alfred? Is it that one? That scene? Yeah, where's Batman? Thank you again for the 100 biddies, Glee. Appreciate that. Highly recommend My Favorite Superman. Let's see here. Oh, I like that a lot. I like that Sarvadin's corrupt. I like that too. That was cool. And he's so smarmy. Katria, I learned recently that a lot of animated shows do not feature characters purposely to save on the budget, to not have to pay the voice actor. Could explain why we don't see Batman a lot. God, is crazy. I don't think Hamish Linklater's that expensive. Maybe. I don't know. Well, they clearly want to, spend time expanding. Because, even in my old reviews, I really like the supporting cast of Batman animated series. I was like, I want to spend even more time with them. And I think a lot of people even said the same thing. Back in the day, I think Tim heard that. I was like, yeah, I want to do that too. But I guess what was written for them, I just don't really care. It's just not really interesting. Their day-to-day lives are just kind of fucking dull. It's very interesting. I'm intrigued. I hope they don't just make him straight up evil, but they do like a take on the mental illness of Two-Face. Yeah, we'll see. People who finish the show probably have a better idea than I do. I highly recommend you watch the rest of the episodes at least. I'll get. I don't know. I was gonna say I'll get to it, but I'm just like I can't make that promise. Yeah, the opening intro is really lackluster. I agree with you, Biggie Smith. Yeah, it's with the penguin. It opens with an interrogation of this guy where this information might have leaked and the penguin's introduced, and they do this whole thing where it's Batman in the warehouse, and he's like, we gotta move the stuff. And he's like, well, we gotta move the stuff. Is something going on? He's like, no. He's like, because Rupert Thorne's in the show, and Rupert Thorne was such a huge part of Batman main series, and he's back here again. I was like, just go back and do that. Yeah, I agree with you. That opening sequence with Oswaldo Cobblepot, and then with Batman afterwards, I was like, also the intro, I should have mentioned this. The general intro of the series is they're just reusing clips from the episodes. It's just which, and I'll be fair, they did do that Batman made series in season 2. They started doing that, but then they said, all right, fuck it, we'll just go back to the regular intro, which is that fucking epic intro where the bank blows up and you have the music. I'll show it to you guys, god damn it.
A few moments later.
There it is. They recreate that shot in the show too. So this is what I'm talking about. Oh my god, look at that. Right, they have the new intro. It's just a montage of clips where they put a kind of 1930s, black and white filter on top, and it has this kind of moody music, but it's da 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 da. It's what are we doing, So yeah, the intro just it pales in comparison to this, obviously. Hard to live up to. It's one of the most iconic openings to a cartoon ever, certainly of the 90s. So, yeah, I was just that intro, good. Thank you for bringing that up because I had forgotten about it because it's so forgettable. So thank you, Biggie Smith. Glee, I was surprised you weren't liking this. Let's check it out. Yeah, no, listen, I feel like I'm in the minority. I feel like I'm one of maybe, I don't know how many critics or reviewers out there. It didn't work for me. Believe me, no one's more surprised than myself. Maggie says, I should finish. You think your attachment from the original series colored your opinion a lot? The thing is, I think that's a good point. That's a good question to ask me. Very good question to ask me. And my answer is, so much of this series just feels like Batman the Animated Series again. The 30s, 40s aesthetic, the Art Deco architecture, the how it's a darker, more mature type of, cartoon. It's a detective. It's all of it. all of it just feels that way, except it's just not as entertaining. Like, in the voice acting, that's the thing. Like, that's what I go back to. Like, the voice acting Batman series is amazing. It's brilliant. And again, Hamish Linklater does a great job. Dodger Bader does a great job. But then so many of those other characters, like Mark Hamill's Joker, like Arlene Sorkin's Harley Quinn. But then you have other people who like Roddy McDowall's the Mad Hatter, right? You had so many other just great voice act. Richard Mole is Harvey Dent, Two-Face. Although, to be fair, Dodger Bader does a great job too. But you just, all these iconic, voices that just stand out. And in here, it's just like, I don't know, some of the voices, they kind of just felt just like, wait, who's talking here? Is this Barber or is this Renee Montoya? Which one is talking? What? Because, it's just like, after a while, it just kind of all fell apart for me. Stuff just sort of happens. Batman's kind of unlikable and has a little charm and was mean to Alfred. He's very mean to Alfred. Pennyworth. He doesn't call him Alfred. He calls him Pennyworth. But I was never excited. It lacked a spark. I never got excited either. I never went like, oh, I always agree with it, feeling like a reach of the previous material. I liked Oswald and her differences from Batman series Penguin. I actually like Barbara as a defense attorney. Besides Batman Bruce, she might be my second favorite character. Yeah, I did. Yeah, we'd have to disagree. I do think this is a major retread, but I'm glad you liked it more than I did. Honestly, I don't like it. I don't like it either. I think, okay, but I would at least finish it. Yeah, I'll get to it. There's other things I want to work on. As well as kids definitely feel like a slight parody of Eric Trump and Donald Trump. Oh my God, you're right. That's exactly what they are. That's what they are. You're right. Holy shit. And they don't do anything with them. I was like, I thought like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I was like, all right, you're going to make her a mother. You're going to make the Penguin a mother. Because we haven't really seen Oz, even the regular Penguin. He's not really been presented as a father. It's like, okay, that's uncharted territory. Like, that's cool, right? Let's get into that. What is that relationship like? What was that upbringing like? It doesn't fucking matter because it's an afterthought, And I don't want to say as to why it is, but it's just like, why even bother introduce it if you're not going to do anything with it? It's like, it's kind of like, all right, well, we're done with that. I think that would have been cool. But, yeah, but you're right. Holy shit, you're right. It definitely is Eric and Donald Trump. And at that point, if you're just doing that for like, oh, look what we're doing here. I was just like, come on. I can understand where you're coming from. Personally, I dug the show. I particularly like that set in like 1930s. Yeah, I mean, again, the aesthetics, like the city and the Art Deco, it's great. It's very much like Batman made series, but, I like that aesthetic. Man. That man was in Battleship. He clearly demands hefty pay only. Yeah, Hamish. You're talking about Bullock and Flash, the corrupt cops in one play. The Flash call him Slap Joe. Okay, these two are gay for each other. Yeah, no, they do. Yeah, I mean, Bullock is very corrupt. Like in the original animated series, it's always like kind of felt like he's corrupt, but he's not really corrupt. He's just really rough around the edges, and he's kind of like a brute, but he's not corrupt. And this, Bullock is very corrupt. He's very corrupt. He does some pretty despicable things in this show, and I mean, they go an extra step with Bullock. He's also voiced by John DiMaggio, who of course is an amazing voice actor. People probably best know him for voicing Bender from Futurama. He's of course Jake the dog from Adventure Time, but he also has a connection to DC. He was the voice of the Joker in one of the best animated Batman films not connected to the DCAU, Batman Under the Red Hood. He did a wonderful job in there, and he's the voice of Bullock in this. And he's good. He's good. Time for me to get some flashbacks. Yeah. I'm way behind the comments, so I'm just reading them for the first time. But good to have you, Reggie. Cappy, hope you're doing well. KC, I definitely got to jump back into my Adventures of Superman. I definitely want to watch the Batman show, though, see what I think about it. That's sad to hear that the rest of the show is very lackluster. I think it is. Like, again, I think I'm in the minority. I hope they expand the supporting cast. Hope the writers can fix this. Yeah, let's hope they realize that's not work of just being derivative. Instead, well, what could they do with the animated series to create a better plot with the overall mystery storyline? Yeah, so many of the mysteries, I just kind of felt like, all right, let's wrap this shit up. Let's go. Which was crazy because so many of the mysteries in Batman made series, like it's a detective show. It really is, and it's just like I love it, and it's just better paced, and it was zanier. It was fun, and this one is it's more of a procedural, but not in a way that I found very entertaining. Good old days, Goosebumps. Yeah, Tom Kenny. He's the voice of he's not Firefly. They make a reference. He's like, it's not Firefly, it's Firebug, and he's an arsonist in the episode. Shirley Walker, R.I.P. 100%. 100%. So good, Edgy. Casey, man, I remember that. Hell yeah, the Zeppelin explosions, the Batmobile chasing down the street. Yep. The music is incredible. 10 times the flavor. And punching up like that, oh yeah, definitely just broke all that guy's teeth. That guy's jaw's fucked up. Have to wire his jaw shut. I feel like I'm on crazy pills. I do. I feel kind of crazy saying this about like a Batman show made by Bruce Timm, But I do. R.I.P. Kevin Conner, 100%. I like the crop cops, though. Refreshing. Bad? Yeah. How's me driver's female Cobblepot? Fine. She's like, okay, I guess. Again, they don't really do much with her. She's only in one episode, right? Unless she comes up later on. Yeah, they don't. It's kind of like a lackluster performance. I never got any sort of menace from her there, even though what she does is like kind of like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. I mean, it would have made more impact if I got to know like a certain character, some of these characters more, and their relationship with her. But I was like, oh, all right. It felt like going through the motions. KC, I wish they did more with the Penguin mother figure. Yeah, there you go. They could do more with it. Seriously, Bruce and Paul Dini, they had done better with father figures. Oh my God, yeah, so many of their characters have daddy and mommy issues. But that sucks. They know that utilize and totally. Yeah, it's believe me, it is done away with very quickly. Very quickly. Let's see here. Yeah, Firebug. Lackluster mystery, reserve a story, underutilized characters. J.J. Abrams produced this. Makes this. Yeah, I guess that's the one thing I did not mention. This is produced by J.J. Abrams. Yeah, so maybe he had an influence. Show was a bit mess as Biggie Smith, but maybe season 2 will be improved. They make one. Yeah, I'm curious if this is gonna get a second. Again, I haven't finished it. I'm sure. One thing, again, the Joker has not shown up in this show, at least yet. And I would not be shocked, though, if they were like, well, if they want to do us, and that's how you do it. Which I actually appreciate that. I'm not going to be like, where's the Joker? Oh, Joker episode. I don't need that. Like, I actually want, one of the great things about Batman series, yes, it delivered one of the greatest Jokers ever to us. Some people would say the greatest. I think Mark Hamill is my favorite Joker. Honestly, he is. Which is saying something because we've got a lot of great Jokers over the years. In animation and in live action. But the show also did a great job of, again, introducing and reintroducing villains to people, doing new inspired. It takes like Mr. Freeze, like all the Mr. Freeze episodes are amazing. The Mad Hatter episodes are fantastic. I mean, like some one Scarecrow, some great stuff. And I respect that. We're not leading with the Joker. Okay, we're gonna do and there's some familiar villains in there, obviously. Like Catwoman's in here, Selena Kyle. She's voiced by Christina Ricci. She's fine. We got a new a version of Clayface that we have not seen done in animation. It adheres more back to the original take on the character during the Golden Age, where he's like a former actor who becomes like a serial killer. It's more of that take. And like that character is more like they present him. He's a combination between Basil Rathbone and Boris Karloff, which is cool, And like Firebug, like I mentioned, and Harley Quinn. The less said about this version, the better. And there's some other characters in there as well, some other more obscure ones, but so I don't necessarily need them to do like the Joker, but I bet you I bet a lot of money right now that the last episode is going to feature the Joker in some capacity. Like, season 2 Joker time, right? So we'll see, but I don't know. I haven't gotten to it yet. Made Batman shows for me with Kevin Conroy Pass. I don't really want to watch another Batman show without him. I am all for another new animated Batman series. And there's been some great ones. There's been some good ones. It's like, yes, it's hard to live up to Batman the animated series. It is. You're in the shadow of it. But like Batman Brave and the Bold, it's like super fucking fun. It's a total homage to Golden Age and some Silver Age Batman. The Batman's underappreciated. There's some really good stuff with that show. I think when Robin finally comes in, then it like really finds its footing. Harley Quinn's really good. I've still, they won't do it though apparently, but I would love in the My Adventures Superman universe. I'd love if they did My Adventures with Batman. I think that'd be great. I think that'd be so cool, and I hope they do. But yeah, let's see here. So I'm all for it. Like, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be impossible to replace Kevin Conner. How can you? But I still would love. I still want them to try. You know. The difference for me when it comes to the 40s aesthetic with this show versus Batman series that I was expecting Batman series, it felt like the 90s show trying to capture 40s, 50s feel. This show actually feels more grounded. I actually felt at times when I was watching it Telefairy from back then. Well, the thing is, the original show, it never like said like we're set in the 40s or anything, or the 30s or 40s. That was just the aesthetic. Like technically, if you look at the show, you can tell, oh, it is actually set in the early 90s, at least initially. You know, it's weird because once we get to Justice League, it is in the 2000s. Because then when we get to like Batman Beyond, it's like, I think it's set in like 2020 or 2019, or it's in the 2020s at that point. So it's like, oh, all that kind of like it's interesting. You know, they do have a sense of chronology. It's just that's just the aesthetic of the city, and this kind of they wanted to capture the technology. It was a blend. It's a blending. It's a blending. It's aesthetic blending of let's bring in stuff from the 30s and 40s where Batman originally came from, but let's also include that kind of like modern sensibilities, you know, to that too. So we can have like this advanced technology. We can have this kind of stuff at the same time. Like TVs are are still in black and white. It was more of an aesthetic choice, and I think it worked. It's like, and again, it like the aesthetics work here. Like I'm not bothered by the aesthetics. I like the aesthetics. It's just like, all right, I've seen this before. I thought the storyline of Harvey Dent, him later becoming Two-Face, was interesting. So, welcome, Die Hard. Good to see you. I believe I hope we get a second season. They do a better job of writing, prove it. Yeah. Biggie Smith, thank you for the 100 biddies. I believe the best episode of the animated series will have to go to Almost. It's up there. You know, Almost Got Him. Heart of Ice, of course. Mad Love is great. Oh, God, there's so many amazing episodes. Feet of Clay, Part 1, Part 2 are very good. Oh, man. Over the Edge is excellent. Oh, there's a lot of great... I love See No Evil. That's a really good one where Batman basically fights the Invisible Man. That's a really fun episode. That's a great one. Mad Hatter episodes are all great. Obviously, you can't do wrong with any of the Joker episodes. They're super fun. All the villain reformed episodes are very good. Like Harley's Holiday, Penguins, Bird of a Feather. You have that one. Riddler's Reform. Oh God. You have the Robin's Reckoning, Part 1, Part 2, of course. Like there's so many great ones. Biggie, thank you for the 100 base. Here's some soothing base for you. Thank you. It helped. 2019, yeah. Yeah, Demon Quest when they introduced. Yeah, they have like Ra's al Ghul, who's introduced originally in what was it, Off Balance, and then when he's like going up against Vertigo. Yeah, it's good stuff. One with the Diddler. What? I don't think I saw that episode, honestly. I'm not familiar with the Diddler. Who had the Gators? The Sewer King. The Sewer King, yes. He was the Diddler. Batman came very close to killing that guy. 100%. The Villains Poker Game, yeah, that's right, though. Almost got him. Where all the villains talk about how they almost got Batman. Yeah, no, that's an amazing episode. That's my personal top 10. Yeah, so many wonderful episodes and Batman animated series. But yeah, again, for this, it was okay. It was fine. I guess I'm in the minority when it comes to this particular show, but clearly a lot of you guys really dug it and really like it, and you encouraged me to finish it up. And maybe I will at some point when I have a lazy afternoon or something, but, I got some other things on the docket I have to get to. So, that's my review for at least what I've seen of Batman Caped Crusader.